Hello, everybody. Pancakes here, and how was your weekend? My weekend was actually pretty good. I went back home to visit my family, which is actually going to segue into a topic that I wanted to talk about in this video. But overall, was a pretty good trip back. But now I'm back home, well, back in my apartment, and thought I would go ahead and upload this video for you guys. Now, what we have here is a capture the flag on Hanoi using the AUG with red dot sight. And in this match, I believe, playing in a party with 2 or 3 other people. I'm not 100% sure. This is a pretty old match. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much about the gameplay here because I feel like everything that can be talked about with this game has already been. So there are a couple of things here that I wanted to discuss. The first thing is that show that I had talked about in that last video that I uploaded. A lot of people seem to think that what I was getting at was that I wouldn't be doing any more commentaries, period. That's not the case. I love doing these commentaries. They're pretty easy to do, and I like that freedom of being able to sort of just put on a mic, put on some gameplay, and just talk. So these won't be going away. And my channel will continue to have these types of commentaries, and certainly when Black Ops 2 comes out. So you guys don't have anything to worry about there. The show is going to be only on Respawn, because that's sort of the direction they've gone. They don't really do too many commentaries anymore. They seem to be more into this more involved, I guess, professional type of like videos or shows nowadays. And ultimately, what they want on their channel is their call. Um, and so that's what I'm going to have to do there. And I've actually been thinking a bit more about what I want to base this show off of. Um, and I know I kind of want to do it based on Black Ops 2, at least this first show. Future shows can cover different games possibly, but for my first show, I like to stick with what I know, which is Call of Duty. And one idea I've been toying around with is sort of doing a tips and tricks type thing, which a lot of people have done. And I've been wanting to maybe do it on more specific type issues, such as maps or guns. Like if I were to do something on maps, I might talk about different spots or different routes you can take or things like that, and maybe do one episode on each map. Maybe for each map per game type. I haven't totally decided on anything yet. This is still purely on the conceptual stage. I was also thinking of maybe doing a series with each gun where I will go into the specific stats, how I like to use the gun, maybe what attachments you can use, how the gun compares to other similar guns in its class, things like that, and maybe, put some gameplay on as well of me using the gun to show kind of how I use it. Or maybe do something like that. Or, maybe do just general tips and tricks where I might give, a couple general tips in a video similar to what CNNers did with the control room. Of course, what I would be doing would sort of have my own little twist to it, so it wouldn't be like exactly the same as what he's doing or what he did with his thing. But these are just ideas that I'm throwing out. Nothing is set in stone. I haven't actually like made a video yet. I'm still trying to plan this thing out. If you guys have any sort of ideas or advice for the actual content of the channel, feel free to let me know. I am definitely open to ideas at this point. A lot of you guys gave me some really cool ideas for titles. A lot of them revolving around making some sort of pun based off of my gamer tag or my YouTube handle, and I actually liked a lot of those ideas. They're actually pretty funny and pretty creative, so I could definitely see myself doing something like that. And so for those ideas, I appreciate those. Those are pretty cool ideas. So just keep them coming. I mean, they're really cool, and yeah, I hope that this show can be something that's fun and enjoyable. I need to kind of get a handle on how to really edit videos well because these commentaries don't take a whole lot of skill to make. So I'm not too familiar with things like Photoshop and getting into the nitty gritty with like Sony Vegas. So that's something I'm going to have to get a handle on. But should be a cool experience. And I wanted to go ahead and segue into a completely different topic here, one that's completely unrelated to Call of Duty or video games or anything of the sort, and that deals with the whole notion of growing up and family. To provide a little bit of background here, I grew up in a very close knit family that consisted of myself, my parents, and my younger brother. And when I was pretty young, my aunt actually moved here from Taiwan because half my family is Taiwanese. And with her, she brought two of my cousins. And she lived maybe a mile away, and they were basically almost like my brothers. And so I had this big family, and we would hang out a lot. We went to the same school. We would go on vacations together. We were pretty close. And I've always been very used to having this large family, almost like a security blanket, I guess you could say. And this year, everything has changed because we're all starting to graduate college. And now I'm finding that my brother is now going to school all the way in Los Angeles, and I live in Oregon, so that's pretty far. And one of my cousins is now going to graduate school in London, which is crazy far. And another one of my cousins is now attending Columbia University in New York City for graduate school. And I actually went down to New York City with him a couple of months ago to help him settle in. And on that flight back, something hit me like a ton of bricks. And that was this realization that this may very well be the last time that I'm able to go on any sort of vacation with not only him, but with my cousins or my brother in general. We're all kind of growing up, we're going our own way. We may someday we're gonna have our own families. Uh, it's kids. Things are changing rapidly, and that thought really struck me because all my life I've sort of grown up with them. We've always been very close to one another, and suddenly, just like that, things are changing rapidly. And don't get me wrong, I think it's a very important part of growing up to have that sort of independence and to move out and be on your own. And I value that. I mean, I've lived by myself now for 5 years, so I'm no stranger to, living on my own and being self reliant. But nevertheless, that realization that the people who I've grown up with and that I've seen and been with all my life practically, that I may now only see once a year, if not maybe even just once every couple of years, or if, we live far away enough, maybe even once a decade. And that thought, it just really, really struck me. And it's something, of course, that I'll get used to. And I'm sure many of you who may be younger, who may not have yet graduated college, I'm sure a lot of you may be in that situation. Someday, you may find yourself in that situation as well. And it will, for a while, be very strange. Um, and I guess the whole moral of the story is that it really, forced me to realize that, friends, they come and go. I have some close friends that I really trust and that I really appreciate having. But at the end of the day, there are very few people that I feel I can trust, like really fundamentally trust as much as, say, my brother. And believe me, my brother and I, we didn't have this perfect, happy-go-lucky relationship with one another. When we were younger, we fought like cats and dogs. And of course now, I mean, I'm in my mid-20s almost, and he's in his early 20s, and we're adults now. We don't fight, but, um, we didn't have necessarily the best relationship with one another growing up. But today, I mean, I can say that he's one of the few people I think I can really trust in this world fundamentally, with my life even. And I think that's a relationship that should be valued. And I know some of you may have dysfunctional families, and for that, you have my sympathy. I can only imagine how crappy that must be. I'm fortunate enough that I do have an overall supportive family. And, I've had situations where I thought to myself, I can't wait to move out. I can't wait to be on my own. But it's interesting that when you start to realize that that's happening and that you may not see your brother or your sister or people who have been close to you all your life again for, years, it's an overwhelming thing. And I think the moral of the story is, always be appreciative, I guess, of sort of this bond that you may have with your family. Because even if you have your disagreements, even if you may not agree with everything or you may fight with your siblings, at the end of the day, they are the people who truly know you the best and who probably would give their life for you. And that's not something to be taken lightly, and that's not something to be taken for granted. And so, with that said, I know this was a bit of a heavy commentary, but something that was just been on my mind lately. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We're running out of time, and I'll get another one up later this week. I'll see you guys later.